Hello, hello, and welcome to my Synoptic project presentation. This is what I did for my Synoptic project. I started focusing on FX, which is what I find most interesting in the whole of the FX. Why do I find it the most interesting? One word: simulation. Simulation. FX specializes in creating motion and visuals from simulations. These simulations start with a bunch of preemptive values and conditions, and are just set to run off and do their own thing. This is similar to our universe. We have a handful of numbers, like the speed of light, how gravity works. There's a bunch. Look them up, and they're all set in stone, and everything just happens. But in FX, we get to manipulate these values and just see what happens. Play God a bit. So for my project, I decided to do a full CG environment. I chose a full CG because I have more control, direction over every aspect. I enjoy integration, but this is what I love specifically. And I think it's great. Love, Death, Robots is a Netflix series with 3 seasons on Netflix, and Arcane, another very successful show. Riot Games spent 250 million making both seasons. So I decided to create 3 scenes. They were loosely directed by this idea of a global warming, destruction of the environment from humans. And I wanted to link these scenes with a made-up company attached to the destruction of each environment, like almost an anti-advertising of this company. But I had to cut this out, unfortunately, as long as a few other things. I took inspiration from Simon Stalenhag. He also inspired Electric State Movie. I'll talk about him in a minute. So reference and planning. This was my idea for the first shot. It was based off the Great Pacific Garbage Patch in California. This patch is roughly 1.6 square kilometers big, which is the size of Texas. And I wanted to have this scene with the turtle underneath, get the nice caustics coming through, the rubbish on top, all having its own sims. But we'll get to that later. Second scene was this. It was a icebreaker ship. I took inspiration from this bottom right photo here. This FX artist already made the simulation, and it looks pretty cool. So I decided to take reference from this. And also, I got this really nice reference from Timelab Studios on YouTube. They have amazing footage and reference. And I got this one shot, which I wanted to recreate. There's also this reference as well. Loads of YouTube videos of these. And this is specifically the Yaml ice ship. It's a Russian-made nuclear icebreaker. And I love this shark mouth at the front. The third scene was this. It would be set in a forest. I took a lot of inspiration from Avatar 1 and 2. Yeah, so these shots looking up, I thought were really nice. I even took these photos in Macclesfield Forest, just for reference and for a day out, just to get more inspiration. I saw these trees flowing in the wind, and this YouTube video, Epic Tree Felling Compilation, was great. I got so much good reference from this video, and it really showed through in the final shot. This is Simon. He has a really inspiring feel to his shots or his artwork. It's dystopian, but it's also peaceful. And he uses these bright colors, these warm colors to counterbalance this dystopian feeling. And it's great. I wanted to, take inspiration from this. So how did it actually end up? This is one of the frames from the first from the tree shot. I think it looks great. I was very happy with how it turned out. But we'll get more onto it later. This was the other one, another still from the render. I think this also looks great. The haziness and the moodiness of it is great. But again, we'll get onto it. First, and also the turtle, which didn't end up happening. I ran out of time, but we'll also get onto that later. The R&D. This is the first thing I did for the tree. Building it from the ground up, which is what FX is about, really. Seeing here, this is the start of the simulation. I'm just going through what is a tree. We have the stick, we have the branches, trying to figure out what solvers to use. I used a wire solver here. It's 2 wire solvers, 2 separate simulations glued together, one after the other, so one influences the other. Trunk influences branches. Then we keep going. I use Speed Tree. This saved me so much time. Didn't need to model trees, didn't need to generate trees. It does it all for you. It's really good, and it exports perfectly as well. Exports with the spine, hierarchy, and the geo and textures. So here it is, importing the tree in. I'm taking each bit And what I'm doing in this section here, this red section, is making spines, spines for the branches. This is basically reducing the mesh and making it into one line. This is very important for the simming of the tree. Then here, in this main section in the middle, we are connecting the branches together in a hierarchy. So we have the trunk connected to the branches, let's say level 1 branches, and those are connected to level 2 branches, and they influence each other. This is done with width attribute, which is an attribute that the wire solver takes in. This was very complicated to get done, but once it's done, it worked really great. These are other stuff that's happening below this. This is separating the bottom and top half of the tree, because only the top half really needs a simulation. The bottom half are small twigs, they don't move much in a reference, so I separated these out. I also use a plugin. So I found some plugins online to help me with my workflow. They did it way better than the default ones, and they were really useful to have. This is exporting to USD, which was a headache, but it was, I definitely had to do this to export it to Blender. So I can get all the assets in. I'm most comfortable in Blender. I got all the assets in, and it was a good choice. So here we go. We start really getting that sim down. We are point deforming the branches onto the trunk. There's no simulation on the branches. Now, I'm simulating the branches on the trunk. As you can see, this is not great. This is what the first few ones, they're like noodles. And then I start to adjust the settings there. So here we get different looks. We have one which has some wind and it kind of crumbles. This one's quite stiff. This one crumbles apart. But it's starting to get somewhere, right? Then we have this. We skip a few bits, but it's really just tweaking. I was just tweaking. But here we get this tree. It's kind of similar, but you know, I've just added the models and I've added this background tree. It's what do you call colliding tree. I think it looks great. And here we go. We start getting a camera in. I really liked this shot of it coming down, crashing down. I wanted a lot of my shots to feel the perspective of an animal underwater, you know, feeling the human presence loom towards you. And here are maybe just some final renders, flipbooks. I've also added a lot of custom forces in these to make the leaves, you know, you see vibrate a bit as they come down. Here I've added the smoke and these leaves that come down. This is not dialed in yet. And this is, again, dialing in the numbers. The smoke comes out. It's a bit better. And this was one of the final flipbooks I did, which was the smoke I still had to work on, but these leaves were coming down, these branches were coming down. I really like this end shot, everything flowing down behind it. Amazing. So this was the dust simulation. So I'm colliding the trunk with the ground plane and finding where these intersect. And I'm creating points from that point source. And I'm creating this into a group. Then I'm creating, I'm using this point group to create velocities with the normals of the points. I'm manipulating these normals to make them extrude outwards, like if something fell down, the smoke would go away from the object. And this worked out really well, Pyrosolver and everything, but it was quite a heavy simulation. I think I made some mistakes with the density and the points, but it worked well, but it was just a bit inefficient. Falling branch problem, this was horrible. I spent a lot of time trying to make this work. This was annoying. Exporting USD files, I was exporting a RBD sim with 4 separate pieces and all these materials. I was blasting these models from the tree and then separating them, and I had to still get the textures and the pieces and export them as a USD file to Blender. It was a headache, but I ended up giving up and just animating them manually. There's more information here. This was the final shot in Blender. I've used tree billboards in the background to save on render times, grass only in the area where the camera can see it. Blender is it's a good place to bring everything in. It's fast, it's easy, it's what I'm comfortable with, but that's what I did. And I get all different textures, variations very quickly. So this is the final shot. Very happy with it. Only thing, the manually animated arches all way too fast. I didn't have time to re-render, and there's bits I can improve. But here is the other one. This is the very first sim I did for the ice simulation. Looks great. I love this bit at the start. This is what happened. So I copied this guy's tutorial. He basically used custom Veroni fractures with fall off to create this effect. And as you can see, it's starting to get there. You know, it feels a bit like ice now. And we just keep implementing through this. This is the node chain of this custom Veroni fracturing. Here we have the break threshold, and here we have the fading away of these thresholds. And this is just it happening 3 times. There's 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer, each getting smaller each time. And then this is it meshed, and I'm pretty sure this is the original one still, without, oh no, yeah, we get some of the pushing, and then this is the underneath shot I wanted. It was cool. You can see this does not look right. I end up adding loads of custom forces. Custom forces are what makes these simulations look real. This is a simple attraction to this plane, which fakes the idea of these floating sheets instead of them just sitting. And it's really, really simple bits of code. These 2 ones at the top, easy peasy. But it really had a big effect, and it made it look real. This is down the bottom. Custom velocity flow noise to give some turbulence to the objects as they move in the water. And as you can see here, the impact of these. Now these ice chunks float, they stack, and they really, really, really begin to look like a boat moving through ice. Really cool. And it's just a simple bit of code. Here is the underneath one. Great. See these flowing in the back. This, I'm so annoyed I didn't actually use this shot, but this is with the secondary FX, the bubbles. I'm using velocity of these objects. If they're above a certain velocity, I'm creating this pop source, and then I'm creating this mesh. And then I've got some white water coming from the boat as well. And this is some of the final flip books I made, final shots with the bits of murk in the water, the ice breaking, everything together. Looks really good. This was the final one. There are render problems. The vibe, the volumes look great, but there are render problems. I ran out of time. I kind of neglected the time management of rendering. You can see the flickering, but I'm happy overall. So this is the turtle. This is what I did while making the turtle shot. I did some caustics. You can see caustics, you can see these rays coming through. These basically work by taking the ocean spectrum, taking the normals of this ocean spectrum, and attaching lines to them. These lines are really long, and they move with the ocean spectrum. And then we turn these lines into volumes, and they intersect with each other and create these spikes, these shafts. And these caustics are made in a similar way, but a lot shorter. Yeah, there's another shot there. And then this is what I wanted. You can see where it was going, the rubbish floating. I've got these mercs in the water. I've got this nice ocean on the top. And it would have looked great. I did a bunch of stuff for the water to make the water look real in this angle. I just ran out of time, which is unfortunate. And this is the turtle model. He looks really good. I didn't spend too long on this, maybe a day or 2, but I'm sad I didn't get to use him. I really enjoyed making this model. I think it looks great. It's textured, it would look great, but you know, I never got to use it. So, what went well? I believe I created 2 very good shots. I got what I wanted. I learned a lot, and I did all these R&D, and I'm proud. I'm proud of how they look. There's render problems, but you know, I'm proud of what I came up with. And I think, you know, even this tree shot, it looks pretty realistic. What has failed? Failed to manage my time effectively. I think I bit off a bit more than I can chew, trying to do everything. These scenes have, well, these scenes in general had quite a steep learning curve. I had to do so much research on how to make these FX look real. But I learned a bunch, which is the most important part. Um, I did neglect rendering time. I left it last minute. I always do it, but there were problems which I couldn't have fixed, and the problems I could have fixed. It's just what happened. Because you can see the artifacts, you can see the little bits that could be improved. Just these little things, if done, look amazing. I will continue to do these projects and hopefully get a finished product. Yeah, thank you for listening. The artwork was by Simon. He's great.